Start over. Okay, go.
Usually when there's a period of silence is because you're waiting for me to start. So I just went for it. And then
Fair.
you scared the crap out of me. This is To Wit, a podcast for women in tech doing life. I'm Christy Campbell.
And I'm Melinda Smith.
And I was not ready for the song to end that quickly.
I'm just going to giggle through the entire intro.
So I feel like there's good news that you have to share.
I did share it on Twitter. So, I mean,
it's already out there.
So, like everybody knows, but I am starting with Arcus December 3rd, and I'm super freaking excited. So very excited. Smaller company. I get to work with a ton of nonprofits. I get to own my own projects beginning to end. Lots of autonomy, which I'm excited about, and like stuff like doing the hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the project I'm on now, before I leave, I'm kind of project managing, and it's fine. Like, I like clients. I like working with them, but I'm not really getting to do the build stuff.
I like other people, but I don't really like other people.
It is, oh my God, that's so true.
That's the struggle. Yeah.
That's real life right now.
I know. I'm excited for you for a new thing. That's like similar to the old thing, but you know, I think sometimes it takes a while to find the right fit. And also just, you know, sometimes you can't articulate what you're looking for until you realize you don't have it, or you used to have it. I talked to them
before Blue Wolf, and I was telling Jason, like, I'm a much better asset now after doing this for 2 years with Blue Wolf and going through an acquisition and like you said, kind of figuring out a little bit more what I like and what I want, as opposed to, what are we doing? What's happening? I got to do what?
Well, or even just, you know, just finding the right culture, the right time. Like, my job, like, is really, I'm great, but obviously I also was in the right place at the right time. Like, I was able to shine in a good way, which has continued and good, but I couldn't have articulated to you that that's what I was looking for.
Totally. Until I put my notice in, I didn't realize what it was that was making me feel meh about my current role. I did not like it. Love my team, love everyone else. The projects are all right. But when I finally, you know, was like, okay, I'm pulling the trigger, I just realized that there's just too much. I'm an independent worker, and there's too many people. I don't want your help. I don't want your assistance. Like, I got it. I don't want to fill out 50 status reports and project plans, and I want to just kind of do my own vibe of it. So it's not bad. I mean, those big projects, you need it.
Having other, right, as well, or having other resources. I think a lot of it is things to bounce off of people. It's not that I need you to do it. I need you to listen to me talk it out at you.
It's like
or talk it out with me.
Like, this project, how we build this out, you get these amount of resources and they have to do these things, and it slows things down, in my opinion. But again, with big projects, big $1 million projects or whatever, that makes sense. You need a team, and I totally get it and I respect it. But I'm just learning that's kind of not how I want to work. So boom, get to be an Archie.
You know,
did you know that Arcus is a type of cloud, and it's also called another kind that I can't remember that Josh told me about that is terrible to fly in?
Oh, look, of all the people to know things about clouds.
Well, you know, he has to fly in them. He's a part-time meteorologist, basically.
That's true.
Yeah, I gotta know that shit. METAR.
So
METAR.
Is that it's a kind of cloud?
METAR is like the meteorologist something site that or a thing. METAR means weather. Weather or weather app or something. METAR.
Look at you.
METAR.
All kinds
because I married a pilot, so you know.
That is pretty fancy. So, you know, I was just talking to somebody, and I think in terms of kind of talking about finding the right job, and maybe tomorrow me won't feel like this, but like today, I feel like I'm pretty okay.
Good.
Like, I'm doing pretty good. And part of that is because I saw my ex-husband and met his new girlfriend, which sounds worse than it is. And it sounded worse in my head and really kind of threw me a little bit. But you know what? Like, I'm fucking fine.
Totally.
You know, and he's a lot different and I'm a lot the same, and I'm okay with that because my goal for the year was really to just be okay with who I am.
Totally.
Which sounds weird, but
No,
like
it sounds
just
perfect.
not shitting on myself. But I will say, this is not my super fave, but it's still like makes me super happy. I had a few people that I reached out to and was like, look, I'm going to this thing, and on one hand it's going to be fine, but on the other hand, like if you just have a compliment handy in case I need it, is that okay? And then yes, it's great, and I have those people. And then I was like, okay, I'm fine, I don't need it, but like I want it. And I got like nice
That's
compliments
really,
because
I feel like,
I'm
self-aware to
great.
say, "Hey, I'm okay," but if I'm not, you just nudge me and remind me I'm okay instead of like spiraling.
Yeah, and again, not that I don't spiral, but at least I'm acknowledging during the spiral that I'm spiraling. So, yeah, I don't know. It feels like 2018's been a pretty good one. So, there you go. That's my random. It's not really news, but I mean, it's been a thing. You started dating someone else, and my friends have met her, and there's other, blah, blah, blah. And then it just, I'm like, I don't want to meet her at someone else's wedding and have it be like all about me. So, it worked out. Our friend had a concert. Shout out to Laura Rebel because she was lovely. She lives in Nashville and used to live here in Charlotte. And she opened for the Black Lilies, who were also good. So it was
And
great
you're home at a
to
respectable
see
hour.
her. And I'm home and right. And I literally was sitting there. I'm like, it's a school night. Like, am I staying to the end of this? Um,
I mean,
but
don't you get to work from home
I mean,
tomorrow though?
no. Tomorrow's Salesforce Shirt Friday though, so at least I have less choices of what to wear.
This is true. You don't have to think it through. I
I love how people ask me when I tell them that. They're like, is that a thing? And I'm like, well, it's kind of a thing in that I tweet it. And so really it's just me wanting to wear t-shirts on Fridays and not devolve into wearing t-shirts all the time. But I don't know that it's a
It is now.
thing, but I'm
It's
trying to
totally a
make it a
thing.
thing.
Josh left for Kansas today, and I was talking to him earlier, and I said something about the podcast, and he's like, it just figures. How come every time I'm out of town, you record the podcast? And I said, babe, that's by design. He was like, oh, really? And I said, well, yeah, because when you're home, I like to hang out with you. And he's like, oh, he's like, because I was thinking you do it and you should do it when I'm home so I can watch the kiddo. And he's like, well, then I'll quit thinking my shitty thoughts. And I was like, yeah, you dick. I was like, I did it because I want to hang out with you. And he's like, oh, wow, sorry. I was like, wow, you could.
Oh, I thought because he was like jealous because he didn't get to say hi to me.
Well,
It's
that
fine.
too. But he thought, he was just like, why are you making it harder than it needs to be? And I'm like, I'm not. I did that so when you're home, I spend time with you. Oh, it's like, and then today, I gave my campfire talk to the Women's Network, the internal Salesforce women. So
Yeah.
here's what's funny. So I know Sharon Clardy, I think I'm saying that right, and she's in the fitness Fit for, well, I guess DF19 now Facebook group. Started at 17. And I've chatted with her before, and she had private messaged me and said, would you mind giving your session to like my women's group? And I was like, oof, okay, sure. And somewhere along the line, I realized that she worked for Salesforce. I didn't think about it. And then I went back and looked at the meeting invite, and I was like, wait a minute. The women's network, like your internal women's network. And I messaged her and I said, really? And she said, yeah, is that okay? And I'm like, no, it's fine. I just wasn't really aware of my audience. I thought it was like your women in tech group, which is fine. Either way, it's fine. It just added a little layer of like, oh God.
Legitedness.
Yeah, put on makeup, make sure I was on camera, get my shit together. You know what I mean? But it was good. It was still as hard though. It still was vomitous in nature, but lots of love, and they were very supportive.
Is that why you're going to Phoenix too?
Well, I'm going to Phoenix because my mom lives out there, so we're all going out there for the week for Thanksgiving. So then it coincides with their WIT. They're doing the global gathering. Anyways, one of their WIT meetings, and asked if I would come and talk about Shine Theory. I was like, every day, no problem. Yes. So I have a couple Shine Theory stickers. do need to put my slides together. I'm pretty sure that's in my to-do list somewhere. Let's go ahead and put that on there right now.
My friend tonight texted himself as a to-do list.
I do that.
And I've never really...
I email myself all the time too.
Interesting.
But I don't do it as much now that I have like Evernote and then just reminders in my calendar. But I've been known to email myself.
I mean, I've been known to ignore text messages. So what makes me think I wouldn't ignore text messages from myself?
There's currently an unread text message to me from me. I was like, oh, I got to remember that.
So you're going to Thanksgiving in warmer weather, huh?
Yeah. Oh, man, when am I going to put these slides together? Oh, why is everything so hard?
Did you see that meme? This is not going to go well because I'm trying to do it on the fly. That meme that's like, why is it suddenly dark all the time? No, it suddenly got cold and you have 75 deadlines.
Yeah.
And everyone's just wandering around and it's dark all the time.
Yeah, I saw that.
What happened?
It's so true. I'm so tired. Yeah, the sun goes down. So they were having a Thanksgiving potluck at Olive's school today. And one of the moms was like, are you going to come back for that? And I was like, no, I have a podcast recording at 5 because I thought we were doing it earlier. I don't know. And I said, and once I'm home, like, yeah, I'm not coming back. Like, it's going to get dark and I'm not going back out there in the world. That's not happening. So on today's show, it is the second half of the podcast of podcasts. So this one will be the remaining 6. But in leading up to that, we were not able to get 3 other recordings just because life and time zones and yada yada. So maybe we shout out and talk a little bit about who they are, and then we can roll into the ones that I do have.
We surely can, Melinda.
Maybe you can start with Good Day, Sir. Tell me about those people. Who are they? What do they do? Yeah.
So, one of the reasons maybe that I podcast at all is because of Good Day, Sir. So
really?
Dreamforce 14? Is that when they had the podcast booth with like the lights up when it was on like the second floor of Moscone.
I can
over
visualize
in the corner
it,
over there. Yeah. So whatever year that was, John and Jeremy are 2 Salesforce developers, and they invited me to be on the podcast at Dreamforce and talk about women in tech stuff. Basically, like, what is women in tech, right? And I mean, this is years ago. And so it was great. They've been doing it every week for a super long time, just 2 developers talking about a lot of Salesforce stuff, other stuff as well. And
that's a commitment.
And it's like an hour. Like they it's not too shabby, but they also don't edit it. Like, it's legit, just in the mic, out the mic, into the thing. And they also started a Slack community probably about a year ago. And, I don't understand 95% of what they're talking about sometimes, but it's really great. It's great resources for each other and for me, right? Of like, I'm trying to hire an architect and they're all like, oh, we'll interview architects. Like, we'll help you make sure that they're not full of shit. Just, it's really great supportive community it's created that they, that when you see each other at events, like we had lunch at Dreamforce with just some people from the podcast and, going to other people's sessions, and just a really good, quote unquote, little Salesforce developer community. So they're based out of Texas, and they're
dudes' names.
Good Day, Sir. John DeSantiago and Jeremy, whose last name I can't remember to save my life right now.
I should tell you, since I've probably emailed them both or quipped them both or Twittered them both. I was trying to track people down.
It's funny because I think they're just like, we've talked about that we, we're not trying to do this for money or for anything, like kind of like the cruise, right? It's like, if anyone shows up, great. If not, like Jeremy Ross, by the way, sorry. If anyone shows up, great. If nobody does, fine, And so I think that's kind of their attitude too. So they're just kind of like, they don't really, they have shirts, which are super soft.
I said Good Day,
but,
Sir.
You lose. They play that recording.
Do you want to talk about code coverage next?
So, I sure can. So if you like that plus accents, then you can listen to Code Coverage. And this is, again, one of the more original gangster recordings. So you've got Stephen Harrod from Australia and Matt Lacey from the UK, and they talk about developer stuff. And again, I don't necessarily understand it all sometimes, but they're, quite nice and cheeky with each other. And I think at one point I talked about my super fave that was about the 3 words of like customization, configuration, development, or it's not development, but the third thing of like trying, just being in Steven's brain or hearing him talk about certain larger level concepts like that in terms of how you define projects. And just he leads the Accenture team in Australia and just is a super awesome human. So they don't get to record as much because they both are doing great things. Matt leads his own company, I do believe. I could be wrong. So I think even them coordinating between 2 time zones is hard. So trying to throw the US in there didn't work out super well. But yes, but of course they've got a backlog. Their podcast looks like the Mario Brothers, almost like on the App Store, in the podcast app. Their logo. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. So yeah, they have Code Coverage. And it's funny because when I first started listening, it was harder for me to tell them apart. And now that I know them, I'm like, how could I ever not have told them apart?
Seriously. So talking with Jason, like just kind of an onboarding, Jason has shout out to Jason Atwood, my new boss at Arcus. Yay. He was listening to some of our podcasts, like kind of catching up. So he listened to like Justin's part and like Sam's interview and something else. So I guess he had it on and his wife was like, wait, is that Melinda? Wait, is that Melinda? And I told him, I said, we get that a lot, that people can't tell our voices apart. And he was like, really? And I said, well, you know us. He's like, well, I know you. And he's like, so of course I know your voice. And I said, honestly, people have said, I cannot tell you apart sometimes.
Well, and I know that Jason and Justin are different people. And I can identify their voices differently. Obviously, they're quite different, but I couldn't tell you sometimes which one is which one. I have to think about it. But yeah, they've always been great about giving me clone this user pins when I've presented and mentioned that as one of my favorite apps.
About it. And then I have homework, like 6 books that I'm supposed to read.
What?
I know. I'm excited about it. Well, one of them I already read, Behind the Cloud. I listened to it actually. But they have a whole methodology of Get Things Done, which is a book, and you can look it up on the website too. But kind of the premise, and I just started it, is you can be busy but not stressed. You can get things done and how to like kind of compartmentalize essentially.
GTD.
I know, I'm very excited. So the other podcast that I wasn't able to nail down was David Geller's The Brainiate Show. I mean, he owns his own business, travels around, speaks, donates his time, teaches. So it's not shocking that we weren't able to nail down a time with him. But a lot of his show is keeping up with latest features and functionality in Salesforce. Some has some interviews now and again. And it looks like he's kind of almost on the same methodology of us, maybe a couple times a month. But I think that, all of us are kind of in the same boat of, when you can. None of us are getting paid for that. So shout out to David. You can also find him at, I think it's Brainiate.com. Let me look that up real quick. We're on the phone in real time. We're not on the phone. What's wrong with me? Yeah, Brainiate.com. So Brain, IATE.
Well, and shout out to you for coordinating the ones that you were able to get, because you did literally all of it. So I don't want any credit.
It was fun. So the 3 you're going to hear from is one of these things. I got Becca Dente. She volunteered as a tribute for the 3 of them. And her intro kills me. And I'm not even going to spoil it for anybody because it made me laugh so bad. And then we got System.Debug. Now, out of the 4, I got Ryan and RJ. Megan came on at the end, but then had audio issues. So it kind of didn't work out. And Brian was busy. Oh.
Brian is A super stellar human.
Yes. And then the YappExchange. So that's Shiv and Sharif. And Sharif literally got on from Dubai. It was like, yeah, let's just chat it up real quick.
Sure, why not?
And, he is gracious and kind. And I had a fun time talking to everybody. And it was honestly, the chit-chatting part, like none of them are, well, the exception of the Wizard cast, because we were on for 40 minutes, but I digress. Everyone was like, anywhere from like 7 to 10 minutes. And it literally took more time to get people together than the chit-chatty part, but it was still fun. So we will.
Well, and I was going to say, before we jump into that, I feel like we also have to pay homage to the mecca of podcasts.
Yes.
With the hashtag pod party for 500,000 downloads, we think, of the Awesome Admin podcast.
Yep.
I don't know if that's since like the red shirt time of Mike, or just since it became blue shirt time, or just since Jillian took over.
I'm thinking it's just Awesome Admins podcast, not including button click admins, right? Because you can't roll that in, because that was just Mike's.
Just Mike. Once upon a time. So congratulations to Jillian on and et al. For is that how you say that?
Uh-huh. Well, it's French.
Oh. I've been literally saying that wrong in my head.
Or just phonetic, Americanly phonetically.
Julian and everyone else, great job.
Right.
And let's hear some peeps.
Okay, recording. Tell me who you are, my dear. I know who you are.
Yes. So I'm Becca Denty of the, I literally almost said of the Two Wit podcast, because that's what it says. I was looking at my screen. I'm like, I'm Becca Denty of Two Wit podcast.
I love it. I'm keeping it.
I am Becca Denty of the One of These Things podcast. I'm a co-host with Matt Bertuzzi and Jared E. Miller. And we had this idea for a podcast that was a little bit different. And the reason we call it One of These Things is because we don't talk purely about Salesforce topics. We talk about related topics and then sometimes unrelated topics. So we typically keep a format of 2 Salesforce / tech topics, and then something completely out of the tech and Salesforce sphere, whether that's camping or TV shows, or just something that's a little bit different, because we are all multidimensional people and Salesforce isn't the only thing we do all day, even though it feels like that a lot of the time. So we just wanted to bring sort of a different dimension and sort of share a little bit more about who we are outside of just being Salesforce folks.
And you do pick topics that what was the one I hadn't heard of? Pig savings. I'm not getting this right. I'm just cut this all out. Yeah, you guys tell me about, like, you guys exposed me to some kind of like savings site, or
micro investing, maybe.
I don't know.
Anything financial related, is a Bertuzzi topic. So Matt, Matt, we all have our interests, and 9 times out of 10, Matt suggests something related to savings or finance or things that are above and beyond my scope of economics. I mean, all of that stuff. It's interesting to me because Matt finds it so interesting and he's so passionate about it, which is another nice side benefit of doing this podcast. But it also, I think, shows our listeners that we have a few different things going on. And one of those things is finance, and has opened me up to different ways of investing or thinking about my money. Matt is hardcore on the FIRE train, which, for those of you who don't know, it's financially independent, retire early. And that is this mindset of you don't want to be working until you're 62 or 65 or 72 or whatever. You want to, make hay while the sun shines and then retire and live a low cost life. So that's a topic that has come up multiple times on our podcast.
I like that. I'm just like, I'm going right now to Google it. How did you guys find each other? Like, how did you decide, like, these are the two other people I want to do this with?
So, Matt and I are both local to the Boston area. And while that is true, we don't see each other all that often, except for user groups or Salesforce events. And when other folks come to town to visit us. So Jared comes to town somewhat frequently. Both he and his wife have family up here, and they were up here, and we went out to a very delicious Thai food dinner. And we just started talking about, we had talked about Jared being on the Button Click Admin podcast, and that had been over because Mike had gone to work for Salesforce, so Jared wasn't on the podcast anymore. And just over this dinner, this idea sort of formed. We came up with the name, we came up with the format, 3 people talking about 3 things, all over this dinner. And it wasn't probably until about 5 or 6 months later that we actually did something with this idea. But yeah, we had all known each other from back in the day of the Salesforce community. And so when someone comes to visit Boston and wants to see both Matt and I, we get together. Just sort of naturally happened.
I love Boston. I haven't been in a very long time. One of the times I was there for work, I took myself out to the, I'm going to get this wrong, East End?
Yeah.
And the whole street. First of all, the street is tiny. I tried to drive and park, and I was like, well, this is stupid. And the whole street smelled like garlic and Italian food. And it was an amazing dinner, and people were so kind. And because, it was just by myself.
Oh, the North End, probably.
Yeah. Where all the Italian restaurants are.
Yes, the North End.
Oh, so freaking good. So I think you already answered the typical question of kind of what makes you guys different. And I like that it is, you have a Salesforce thing and then a couple other things, or 2 Salesforce things or whatever, and then one off topic. Is there anything cool coming up or anything you want to share that with everybody that's listening via our podcast?
Yeah. So probably the coolest thing is we have been on a sort of forced hiatus or unforced, depending on who you ask. There's 3 of us, each with our own opinion. So we've been on hiatus since the end of the summer, but we are launching our comeback in November. Ooh. So the most exciting thing that you should look forward to is new episodes from us. So we will be back after Halloween, and we'll have new episodes coming in November. We took some time off. We've got a whole backlog of topics that we want to talk about. So we'll be back with lots of things to say next month.
Sweet. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me and for letting us talk about our podcast and for having all of us so we can all talk about our podcast. I really appreciate this. It's a great way to share among the podcast community.
Heck yeah. Thank you. So Ryan and RJ, part of the quad, I think I have quad correctly, of system.debug. Ryan, why don't you start? Tell a little bit about who's missing on this and who you guys are and what you do.
So we're missing Brian James and Megan Brodkey. Brian James is it's like his brainchild, and he asked me, like 2 years ago now, if I'd be interested in doing a podcast. And I said, hey, yes, I would love to do a podcast, but we got to make sure we do it different. Let's try to do like a live show. And at that time, my kids were really into, what is that show? Good Mythical Morning. So it's kind of like a podcast, but they are all video based. And I said, let's actually make it a live YouTube show if we can figure that out. And then he said, that sounds great. And I have this buddy named RJ. He'd like to join us too. So Raymond joined us, and so we started that on, I don't know, about 2 years ago now, I think. And then we decided we really need to get a female voice on the show as well, because all developers aren't just white males. And we decided, since Megan was pretty much in every show that we've had, at least as a participant in the chat, she was a no-brainer for us. So we grabbed Megan, and now we are 4 strong.
Hey everybody, this is RJ. Sometimes Ryan likes to call me Raymond, which is actually my real name, but I always feel like I'm in trouble when he says that, because nobody calls me that unless I'm in trouble. So
perfect. Good to know.
It always gives me a giggle. Yeah, and that's exactly right. So we, me, Ryan, and Brian. I know that all sound the same, but we all started this thing together. And yeah, Ryan's absolutely right. We needed extra voice on the show because we didn't have all the cards. We still don't have all the cards. You know what I'm saying? We still have a lot of things, a lot of pieces missing, and we're just trying to gather them as we kind of make our way through space on this gigantic rock that we're on. And yeah, that's what we're working on right now. We're really just trying to expand all of our horizons. I'm not a Salesforce guy, pretty much by any stretch of the imagination. They're all excellent Salesforce developers. So I bring that kind of like that side angle of like, oh, hey, you come from a traditional non-Salesforce kind of dev environment, and I think Ryan actually comes from a non-Salesforce dev environment too, if I'm not mistaken. But he's really good at Salesforce, and so is Brian, and so is Megan. Megan's a super rock star in the communities area. So we all have kind of like our key things. Like Brian really likes Lightning. I would say Brian is a jack of all trades. He'll probably deny it till the day he dies, but I would say Ryan has the kind of all around expertise because he's who we all ask questions in the chat. So yeah, and I'm the guy who has very little Salesforce experience and just kind of sits on the side.
So for people that don't know, you are a developer focused live podcast, meaning do you guys you distribute on anything besides YouTube or just
we record it live on YouTube, and then basically what I do, and I'm a little behind actually, is after the show I go and I strip out the audio, and then we do release that to iTunes right now. I don't know if there's other places you can find us. I think there are, but that might be occasionally why the quality isn't that great. We're still building our equipment list and making it so that it's easier for us to record, whether or not we have lag, etc., and higher quality audio recordings. So, but generally, yeah, we just we record every 2 weeks live. What you see on the show is what gets released as the audio, mistakes and all, generally. We have a little bump that I'll add here and there every now and then if I miss a show and I don't get to play it through my phone, because I think I'm the only one with like the splitter kind of stuff. So we're limited there. But yeah, we record it live. I go to YouTube, I strip the audio out, and then we just publish that as the podcast.
So what was your topic tonight? Like, what's an example of what people could find when they listen to you?
Tonight was a unique challenge. Brian has always wanted to do this, and so tonight we let him. He wanted to do a live coding session. So about 30 seconds before we hit the go live button, we decided what we were going to write in a Lightning component and give him 30 minutes to do that while Megan and I kind of heckled him and helped him. I'm pleased to say that he would have gotten it all the way through and done. There was a weird issue that none of us had ever seen before, and he's probably hacking on it tonight. I'm sure he'll be trying to just figure it out. But I fully think that he would have made it through in the 30 minutes and had a working Lightning component on an account page and all that stuff. So tonight was a unique challenge, but sometimes we will have guests. Had some really good guests in the past. Megan was a guest before she was actually on the show. Sometimes we will have companies who we had an IDE. Which one is that? The suite. Welcome Suite. Thank you. I was almost in Wellington. I must be hungry. The Welcome Suite. They were on. We had a security one, so they really run the gamut. But we try to keep them a little more technical focused if we can. Usually around code, learning to code, stuff like that.
So then, since you're on a channel, we get to interact with you real time, right? Do you guys talk to people as they leave comments real time, or do you kind of just focus on the content first? Because I would love to be able to be like, hey, I actually know what you're talking about, or something silly.
Actually, RJ is really good at interacting. We do watch the chats. We do watch the questions that come in, the insults sometimes. Actually, that was only that was only one time, and it was funny. But yeah, no, we have an active channel that as we sit there, you can chat right there in the YouTube and we ask questions. I just said the YouTube. How technical does that make me sound?
You got to throw an S on the end of it. The YouTube.
The YouTube on the internet. Yeah. The World Wide Web.
YouTube's on the internet.
World Wide Web. Nobody calls it that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. We try our best. Just to reiterate what Ryan was saying, we try our best to interact, and we try to be as interactive as possible. And we have been more interactive the last couple of shows, the last couple of casts. And so, yes, in the actual live stream, we try to be very interactive. Unfortunately, of course, in the podcast, we can't be.
Sure.
But if people would leave comments or, whatever they want to kind of discuss, if they have things that they want to hear and they want to throw a comment out there and say, hey, I wish you guys would go over XYZ, we'll definitely take that into account. And we also have our Twitter. So at system.debug, if you tweet us at system.debug, well, of course, we'll try to take that into account as well. So we try to be as interactive as we can across the board when we can.
Well, as someone that's easily distracted, I enjoy your show because I can hear it and see it. And not like, damn it, what was I listening to? Oh, I got distracted. So I really enjoy it. I love the dev focus because, it's always a toe dipping I try and do here and again. Like, I'm always like, oh my God, I understand what they're talking about. Go me. Well, thank you.
That is awesome.
I am so glad that you guys got to come play for a little bit. I just want to make sure that everyone on the community knows what we're all putting out there. And like I said, yours is very unique. And I love the full, the 2 of the 5 senses it involves, which is very important for an easily distracted person.
There is one more thing that I want to say too that I think we do a little different, and that is RJ from time to time will submit little mini videos in between our episodes. So when time allows and when we have a hot subject to go over, he will create the 6-minute Salesforce videos, and they're very useful. Things like bringing yourself up to speed on GitHub, or how to start using Salesforce DX, etc. Things like that. So those are informational, but they're not part of the live show. But I think you can get those like on our Facebook channel and on our website and all that stuff. So just a quick plug for that, because
they're on the YouTubes
yes, they're
as
on
well.
the YouTubes as well. Yes,
they are on the YouTubes. They usually don't go over 7 minutes. So, which is a plus. I'm glad they don't go over 7 minutes because some of that stuff is a little zany.
Well, that's awesome. I like the little tidbits of content. Thank you guys very much.
So this is Sharif Shalan. I'm actually a technical architect manager at Round Corner. I'm also the founder of Agile Cloud Consulting, and my partner in crime is Shiv. Shiv is the CEO of Daysworks. And we've been doing the YappExchange for about 3 years now. So as you can probably tell, the name was just a play on the app exchange, yapping, talking. So we kind of put that together as YappExchange. And we have a pretty, free flow style for the podcast. We usually invite guests on, or we may do something by ourselves. We'll just come up with some topics, and it's really... the way it came about is we would do these kinds of talks on a regular basis, and we decided let's start recording these, and it kind of turned into the YappExchange, and we started inviting people on and just having interesting conversations that had to do with Salesforce and other things as well. We have 32 episodes right now,
Nice.
And the release cycle is we kind of release whenever we want to.
Yeah, that's kind of everybody.
Yeah, so there's no set, we're going to do one every week or every month. It's pretty much we try to do at least one a month though, but we don't have a set release cycle.
And then how did you and Shiv meet?
So Shiv actually we met on the success community. So we were kind of it was in the days when it was like Shiv, myself, David Liu, Steve Mo was always there, Deepak, Jeff May, and we used to have these just these battles on the success community, answering questions. And so I actually ended up mentoring Shiv, once we met through the success community. And then he, I believe it was Dreamforce 2015, I believe. Could be 15 or 14, but I think it was 15 where he first came out, where we met in person. And from there, we became good friends, and so we started up the podcast.
So you guys do have the goal of always having a guest, or do you guys just roll solo? Kind of what's?
Yeah, so we usually, sometimes it's just Shiv and myself. It's only been maybe like 2 episodes like that, but for the most part, we always have a guest on, and we, that guest is really kind of the center of the podcast, where we ask what their Salesforce story was, how they got into Salesforce, and then we discuss a lot of things that they're involved in. If they're user group leaders or witness leaders or anything like that. We talk about all the different things Salesforce that they're involved in, but we also usually touch on things non-Salesforce that they're involved in as well.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I know that you guys are always in different time zones, and you're actually in Cairo right now. Anything cool coming up, or anything you want to shout out, or maybe where else people can find you?
No, I just want to say thank you for doing this. This is great, just having a resource where you can find out about the different podcasts that are happening. India Dreaming is coming up next month, so it'll be exciting. And you can find us on YappExchange.com. You can find us on iTunes, and you can subscribe. And thank you.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Hey, maybe next time it'll be in Egypt.
Yeah, let's make it happen. Thank you.
Now you have some more people to follow, more podcasts to listen to. Melinda has educated you. You're welcome.
Woo! It was fun. It was fun getting to know the premise of everybody too, because if you don't always listen, or you hop in every once in a while, you may not know their brand awareness. Yes,
their story.
I'm gonna get this right. I just had dinner with my girlfriend this week for my birthday, and she was going to freelance, and hers is all about like the message, like your brand messaging. That's what it is. So until you know their brand messaging now.
Well, and also, here's to finishing things that you started with good intentions at Dreamforce, because the light shines bright, and you kept it going.
We did it. We did it, pal. We did it.
We did it.
What you got for fave?
Yeah, so I have been to I can be sort of basic sometimes, and I really enjoy a good
I heard basic.
What's that? I do too. It's fine. That's not an insult, by the way. That's like me complimenting myself, basically. But the point is, I enjoy a good makers fair kind of event, especially at a brewery or winery, where I can get artisanal jewelry and so I have run into this lovely artist. She's on Instagram at By Chance Creations, and I just really was struck by her art. And it's very she takes reclaimed items, so from like the Salvation Army or Goodwill or wherever she gets it, and then like paints them. And it's just a really interesting, like just the way she does the paint and lacquer, that she like moves the board so it kind of drips in different ways. And she's
it's very cool.
It's very tactile, so she encourages you to touch it. And so I've just really liked it, and I've occasionally seen her at shows, or like I said, followed her on Instagram. And she had a piece, and I just was like, I want that. And I'm an adult, and I can buy art, local artisanal art. And so I stopped by her house to see it and bought it. And we had wine, and we talked for like an hour. So it was just a really weird and wonderful, interesting evening. And now I have a piece of art for my room.
So like, I just went to the artist's house, made some wine. We discussed, what motivates her.
I mean, it was Trader Joe's wine, but that's fine. It was great. Yeah, it was super nice to hang out with her. And we're both, she's still in the process of getting divorced, so we talked about that kind of stuff. And it's just anyway, By Chance, her son's name is Chance, and the way that she ended up doing art and like kind of finding this style was by chance. So it's just a cool story. And There you go.
My super fave is, I got new flooring for the home gym for my birthday.
Did you?
I did. Because, that's what I wanted. It's really hot. I had like like an old, like a throw rug and like 2 yoga mats and like a nice yoga mat that was my mom's, like a Lululemon, really expensive yoga mat I bought for her years ago. So when she was here and visiting, we could go to yoga. Well, it became my like catch-all yoga mat, and it is beat the fuck up. Like no yoga mat should look like this. So I mean, I'm gonna have to get her a new yoga mat. But Josh got me this new flooring, and it's really cool because it's almost like a ginormous, like padded mat, like yoga mat. So we've had before in the past where you get like those blocks that like stitch together.
Yes, that's what I'm imagining.
And it's annoying because you jump around or you move and they kind of come apart. It is just one huge piece. So awesome. And so I'm down there working out and doing my own thing, and Josh is upstairs, and I was like, babe, and he comes down, he's like, what? I'm like rolling around. I was like, look, I have so much more room for activities down here. He's like, you called
is it like
that?
Is it like a gel mat? It
feels like a yoga, like almost like a waffly yoga mat. It's awesome. I feel like I have all the space now to have proper form.
And yes, I called you down here just for that.
Yeah, I had a bang out workout today. It was awesome. Woo!
That's great.
Yeah, that's
I did
like.
Yeah.
Shit, it's my jam.
I'm happy you made it a priority for yourself.
I like that stuff. Yeah, when he had suggested it at first, he's like, hey, I kind of don't want to spoil the surprise, but I should ask you, like, would you like flooring downstairs for your birthday present? And I was like, oh yeah, hell yeah, I would. Because, you deal with the shit that's down there. Like, whatever, I'll work out on the cement floor. I don't give a shit. But now I'm like, oh my God,
it's not good for your knees and stuff, though.
No, I've had bruises depending on like whatever movement, like especially if there's like kind of burpees involved, and like bruises because eventually have to do, or like push-ups because I have to do it from my knees at some point in time because I'm not still that strong. So next week is Thanksgiving. What are you doing?
I'm gonna go to my friend's mom's house and have margaritas, and then go to a steakhouse.
Oh, yes.
That's called Epic Chop House, and it's epic.
We did that a couple of years ago. We don't do the traditional stuff. Like, no one in the family likes turkey or ham. So we either do steaks. I'll probably do fish or something. But like, we don't care about all.
The nice thing is today at work, they did, in the cafe, they did the Thanksgiving thank you meal, and it was free, and it was really good. And I got my like green bean casserole on, and they had good sweet potatoes, and I had a portobello mushroom with like pineapple quinoa something in it that was real good too, but and some ham. So I feel like I've like checked the traditional box, so now I can just do what I want.
The hell else was I just going to say?
Something about your grandma words.
I was talking to my grandma, and she was like, hey, I got this new DVD player. It's like high res. Cool. That's what it said on the box, I'm sure. She's like, do you know anything about this MIHD, this like cord? And I was like, an HDMI cord? She's like, yeah, I went to the nerd store and I got a new one. Wait, what? She's like,
oh my God, I just almost spit wine all over my microphone.
I went to the nerd store, and I really should have had someone come over and set this up for me. I mean, this is the grandma I told you that texts me the emojis now. And if she gets the lettering, she calls me her little angel, but sometimes she calls me an angle in text messages, which is awesome too.
I went to the nerd store.
And I don't even understand what I need here, but you're just supposed to plug it in. It works, and it's not. And I was like, I cannot help you from this state, but I was cracking up. Fucking nerd store. Yeah. Oh my God, I died. That's the end of my story. We're going to Arizona for Thanksgiving, like I mentioned. So I will be in a heated pool, hanging out. I do get my sweetheart For most of the week, there was a moment where I was only going to get him for 36 hours, and it made me sad. So I get him Sunday through Thursday now. So I'm very happy.
Ooh.
I know, like that's nearly the whole time. I mean, he has to leave Thanksgiving evening because the owner was like, I got to go to a pop-up wedding the next morning. And I was like, ugh, I don't even know what rich people talk about. Like, I don't know what a pop-up wedding is. I don't understand you and your richy richness. Whatever.
Check for those Arcus clouds.
Yeah, don't fly those. That's some shit. I love you. I'm thankful for you, by the way.
Too.
So much.
No. I didn't even have to reach out to you for just in case compliments, but I know that I could have, and that's enough.
I'm on a quick draw McGraw. I will help you out
anytime. I've literally texted someone and just been like, please say something nice about me right now. And they did. So I'm thankful for that. We really could just keep rambling, but I think we're trying to be done.
I think we should.
All right. Well, happy November and stay witty.